It was his 10th wedding anniversary, and Daniel Gordon was returning home to his wife after a hard day at work. A very hard day. In fact, he'd just been laid off. Management said it was a competitive restructuring, but Daniel knew. The boss was afraid that someday he'd be in line for the top job. It was a preemptive amputation. The winding coastal road led to the suburb in which they had just moved. What would he tell her? Rebecca had been patient. Even when the job had caused them to move halfway across the country, she left her friends and her family without complaint. After living in an apartment for 2 years, they had just bought the perfect home. How long could they afford to make the mortgage payments on it? 3 months? 4? She loved the place. It was the one real thing he'd been able to get her. Now they might lose it. The car sped along the narrow highway curves. The small gift-wrapped package and box of roses slid across the seat. The sun went down over the ocean, taking its illumination with it. Daniel turned on his headlights. Sure, they gave him a severance package, but jobs hadn't exactly been plentiful since the economy turned. Several friends of his had taken jobs at greatly reduced rates of pay. There was always unemployment, but that didn't pay much either. What did that leave? His life insurance policy? It was strange to be worth more dead than alive. If he died before he missed a payment, Rebecca would at least get enough to pay off the house. Maybe enough to survive for a few years, or go back to college. The tires squealed around a tight corner. She was a good-looking woman. She could find someone else, someone who could keep a job. Even with a master's degree in business, he couldn't guarantee her the lifestyle she deserved. Perhaps dying was the kindest thing he could do for her. It sure beat showing up at home on their 10th wedding anniversary with a pink slip. How would it go? Hi, hon. Happy anniversary. By the way, we're destitute. No, he couldn't face that. The car sped blindly around the next corner. The wheels screeched as the car slid into the opposite lane. He was going the wrong way around blind curves. It spun towards the railing that separated the highway from the cliff edge, and the deadly plummet into the Pacific below. Daniel stopped hard on the brakes, turned into the spin. His driver's education teacher's voice haunted. The car stopped on a patch of dirt shoulder, inches from the railing. Daniel fought to calm his racing heart. Forcing himself to breathe through his dry mouth, he opened the car door and stepped into the night air. A pack of cigarettes felt as though they were burning through his shirt pocket. He retrieved one and lit it up, smoked it, and lit another. After the third chain-smoked Camel, Daniel slumped on the hood. Sorry, Bex. I shouldn't have brought you here. It was just a job, for Christ's sake. The light from the rising moon provided enough light to inspect his car. Only a flat tire. He tossed the butt and went to get his jack and spare from the trunk. Why was his trunk always full of junk? Pulling an abused sleeping bag off the pile, he fumbled for the jack and ran across the familiar texture of his saxophone case. It was heavy and hard, his long-forgotten friend. The flat tire, for the moment, could wait. The instrument had been his friend throughout his troubled teens and lost 20s. It alone had given voice to his secret fears and doubts of adolescence. Once, he might have had talent. Talent or no, however, it brought him solace when the winds of fortune turned against him. The case was old and beat up. It had been used when his father saved it from the hawk shop and presented it as a gift for his 13th birthday. Scratches and cracks, long covered over by bumper stickers and band logos, indicated the case's age. On the car's hood, he opened the case for the first time in years. Seeing its brassy gleam lit up by the moon, it was like going home. Gingerly, he freed it from its worn, padded tune, then fitted the mouthpiece, and tested a few notes, his stiff fingers stretching and straining to make the changes. It had been a long time. Several times over the years it had come close to ending up back in a hawk shop, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. The notes rang through the hills, bounced off the cliff face and resonated out over the ocean. More notes followed, then old familiar melodies. Soon it felt as though he'd never stopped playing. The music became a melancholy riff to match his mood, slow and sad. The reed grated against his tongue, but the music flooded the world, sharing all he felt with it. Daniel blew out a new melody. The first few notes came tentatively, and then started to flow from his instrument. with feeling and purpose. The sound resonated from the ocean. It was a vaguely familiar sound. It was a sound from a tape his wife had given to relax. The sounds of the ocean. There was a whale out there. He waited and listened. Nothing. Was his imagination toying with him? Or was it strange echoes? It was the whale. He played, matching the sound of the aquatic diva. It continued its strange song, changing its song to match him. It had been a long time since he played a duet, but they were in harmony. In high school, and in his freshman year of college, he played in a band. It didn't amount to much, but he loved it. Memories of the joyous years mixed with the music and the moonlight. The saxophonist played harder and louder, blowing till his lungs burned. The whale matched him. Together they played the mournful ode to lost dreams. Perhaps the whale lamented also, or maybe he thought he was another whale. Whatever the cause, that night, both lamented together, till neither had a sad note left. The world had taken enough. Society's false promises could no longer make him forsake his dreams. Becky used to watch him play in college. She often claimed his music had won her heart. She would understand. They could survive for several months on severance pay. He'd find a band. All he needed was a few gigs a week. A musician's soul rejoiced at the sudden freedom. It had been distracted from its destiny for far too long. Gordon Daniel played the last few notes for his friend in the darkness. What do whales wish for? Peace, harmony, more plankton? Whatever it was, he wished it for the creature. In his moment of despair and doubt, it was that inhuman voice from the dark ocean that showed him the light. There was no response. It had gone back to the depths. His saxophone slid gracefully into her case. He lit another Camel. This time, however, the case went into the seat, beside Rebecca's anniversary present and roses. The car hit the road again, with its spare tire, and a more cautious, optimistic driver behind the wheel. It was his 10th anniversary. He was in love with his wife, and on his way home, to tell her about his new dream job.